Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the career transformation, series with Deji or Jonathan Mathens. Jonathan, thank you very much for being here. We are very excited to have you here. Can you hear me, Jonathan?
Yes, I can. Yeah, you. Thank you very much, Coach Russell. I really appreciate.
Beautiful. Thank you. So, we'd like to just go straight into this conversation. We know we have a very limited amount of time here with you today. We really wanted to understand your journey. How did you get into technology? Tell us about that journey. It's really very interesting to us.
Okay, um, Russell. Good afternoon. Yeah. So, how did I get into technology? Well, I think somehow I've always been interested in technology, but I was trying to force my way through because I was in school. I was trying to run a clothing brand. And I remember that in trying to run that clothing brand, I was trying to infuse some sort of technology into the whole thing. And how was I trying to do that? So I was trying to maybe try to create like a website that people could use to order merch from me. And at the time when I was trying to package my stuff, you see that on the package I had like the tags, like those HTML tags. So I didn't know how to code, but I just like the syntax. So I was using some syntax as part of my, you could see it around the brand. So I think when I was getting to final year, I think I got more interested in technology. So I was trying to I was trying to build a startup, right, for students. In fact, initially I tried to build a startup, during COVID that could help people make orders for food, and then I could, send dispatch riders to help pick up the food, something like Uber for restaurants, but it didn't work out. So then I tried again, like in my final year, to build a startup for students, but it turned out bad because I didn't know how to code at the time. So yeah, so that was where I knew that I needed to like get my hands or get my two legs into tech. So on graduating from university, I was like, okay. So in fact, what really made it interesting was because I was at the crossroad at the time. Because one, I just got like two contracts to supply like clothing, right? And I also had the opportunity to go for a software engineering boot camp, like a training for 1 year. So that was a really difficult decision for me at the time. So I needed to like make a choice because going for the program, I couldn't run the clothing brand anymore because it was a full-time program. So tough decision. So I was thinking about it as a long-term impact in my career, and I was like, okay, you know what? I can forfeit some money for now, and then go go pursue my interest and passion in quotes. So yeah, so that's how I went for the boot camp, and then I dedicated my time to the boot camp. And eventually I finished as the best student, surprisingly actually. But yeah, that's how I actually got into tech, and so far so good. I've been trying my best. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. So, your journey started with your interest in software engineering. Your software
Yeah, I was really interested.
with building an application for yourself to solve
Hmm.
a personal problem for your startup.
Yeah.
And then now, question is, after you have been able to learn that skill on software development, did you get a chance to apply it in your startup idea?
Not yet actually. Because I've been thinking about it. Now I came to tech to I'll be able to build a company, but I haven't gone back to build a company. Not because I would not go back to, but because I still think that I have a couple to still learn. I mean, in building this startup, I still have to learn, but it takes a lot. It takes, you know, not a lot per se, not beyond what I can do. But yes, I know that I'm still learning. I'm still trying to build my network in terms of working with people, working for other people, so that when I'm fully ready to build a startup, yes, I've been able to learn a few things. I've been able to, give back to the technology community or the software community. I've been able to make impact. I've been able to, on my own, I've been able to, um, maybe maximize potential. But yeah, definitely I will still go back.
Amazing. So
Mm.
now your how long did it take you basically to do your training from being knowing nothing about software development to being proficient and graduating at the top of your class?
Ah, so I think that software engineering is it's a it requires lifelong learning. Like I usually tell students that I teach or that I usually facilitate their class. I tell them that it will only get easier 10 years later. Yeah, because yeah, so that's it. So for me, so how did I actually feel the job? So I don't know. I don't know how that happened because what I can remember was I was studying. I was always studying actually. I was always trying to solve one problem or the other during my training. And most importantly, I was always trying to teach other people so that I have the opportunity to learn twice. I organize like tutorials to teach people to solve problems. Yes, just normal stuff. So in trying to teach people, I was learning twice, getting to the roots of why certain things were. Then in trying to solve problems, I was gaining more understanding about how different technologies work. And then I was basically interleaving, trying different languages, trying different tools. And yeah, so that was all I was able to probably that was how I was able to, you know, finish as one of the best in class.
Okay, and so how long did it take for all of this to happen?
But yeah, so the training I went for was 1 year. It's a 1 year training.
Okay.
Yeah, so for 1 year, we need no weekends, no holidays, no sick leave, no phones. You can't use your phones. Trust me.
You can use your
So
phone.
no, no, no. So I think during the day, so the moment you get in by 8:30, you drop your phones. You can't access your phone till evening.
Wow.
Till about 5 6 years.
And during that time, for one whole year, 12 months,
Yeah, yeah. For one whole year, you can't access your phones for
Monday
during the
to,
day,
Monday to Friday.
Mondays to Fridays. Yes.
Wow. And
And then
during
the assignments they give you Fridays, you won't be able to use your phones because you can't finish them till Monday, but you're expected to finish them.
wow.
If,
How was that experience for you?
I think it changed something inside my body system
How? In what way?
because it's a lot of sleepless nights, so I already used to not sleeping, and it's not really healthy, honestly. But with the assignments, with the task that you have to finish up, yeah, you have to try your best. And he also helped me in terms of being more outspoken because I was trying to teach a couple of people. I know when you start teaching one, two people, three people, the tutorial session starts getting more interesting because other people would want to join. They see that you're already teaching 10 people in the class. Then the following day, the entire class will tell you that they're waiting behind you. And that thing they must learn it. And then there's a lot of pressure on you because if you start day one very well, day two must go well as well. And people
Hmm.
must understand. So yes, I stretched myself. I think it was an opportunity for me to stretch myself because I knew what I had already given up. I mean, the contract that I had. So it wasn't going to make sense for me that in finishing the program, I have to come out again as a medical. So immediately wasn't an option for me at the time because of what the alternative that I had or what I was dropping, the sacrifice I was making. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was tough, but it's still tough. So not like it's already better.
So what I'm hearing is for you to get into the program, there was sacrifice to be made. You were on a contract, you left the contract, you joined a 1 year program, and this 1 year
Yeah,
program required that every day for 12 months, Mondays through Fridays, you were
yeah,
spending that time 8:30 in the morning to 6 in the evening,
yeah,
coding non-stop
yeah,
without
yeah. We're having,
without the distraction of your phones or anything.
Um,
You're just focusing on doing that. So that's the learning phase. That is what it means to learn to develop that skill of a full stack software developer.
yeah. Hmm. There's
Did
still a
I
lot more. Well,
okay,
there's still a lot more.
what did I miss?
I mean, becoming a full stack. Well, I don't see myself as a full stack, but in learning the fundamentals to be able to thrive, to be able to, because for me that 1 year was like exposure in the sense that we're exposed to different technologies. We're exposed to learning so that by the time you're done with your program, there's no technology you will be able to look up the documentation and pick up. Right, you're exposed to that. There's a lot of intellectual rigor, so it's not like there's any technology that's going to phase us. It can't phase me. I know it just requires a lot of learning, it requires a lot of effort, challenges. So I already know what it takes to pick up a new technology and build. So it's not really about the technology again. It's not really about the tools. It's about what it takes to learn the tools. So I think that was what it did for me. It builds for me. The program builds for me the capacity, to be able to learn any technology that's set out to learn.
Hmm. Okay. Now we've talked about your journey, your interest, and
Yeah.
before you went into tech, what were you studying at the university at that point?
Well, I was studying management information system.
Oh,
So it
okay,
was more or less like a business course.
okay,
So more like the business of technology.
okay. So let's choreograph that entire journey. This is the guy who was studying management, and he wanted to venture into business. He realized
Mm,
that to get into business, he needed to get his hand into, because he was playing already with websites, web design. He fancied that and he decided to take a full course in software engineering that lasted a year. This required sacrifice. You left a working contract, and during the time you left this contract where that was paying you money to survive, how were you taking care of yourself, focusing on 1 year on this program?
Now that I think of myself, I think I was lucky because at the time when I was going for that program, I just started NYS.
Oh, okay.
So NYC Alawi,
Yes.
it was 33,000. So that means that every day 1K to eat, 500 in the afternoon. So they had so the program they gave us lunch. So not like the lunch is hefty lunch,
Okay.
just something that will make you focus in class.
Okay.
Yes. So I know that in the morning you can buy food to eat. So I don't really eat in the morning already. Right from when I was young. So that one I could do away with that one. So but that evening and night, there are two kinds of. So that's how I was able to survive one. And second, I was staying with a family friend. Not
Okay.
really a family friend, a friend of mine I met in school, but friends become family. So I was staying with the family and there's always dinner
Okay.
in the family house. So that also helped me
Wow.
survive. It was a good opportunity at the time. So thinking about it, yeah.
Hmm.
3,000 for survivor, for data, because when you go back home you have to code. But during in school I stay back late in school sometimes because there was Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So yes, there's light in the school building, there's Wi-Fi, accessible to Wi-Fi. So I stay back sometimes to code, but once you take the data, I can run back home, have to subscribe to code.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful story that you've shared. Now
Mm.
let's dig a little further. You've gone through the training, you have the
Mm.
skills. What happens next for you?
So you know that by the grace of God, I finished as the one of the best students. So they retained me. They said that I'm going nowhere. That they want me to stay back to teach or to facilitate other young engineers coming in. So since then till now I've been there. So
Okay.
basically, my work is facilitating young software engineers getting into or trying to become professionals. At the same time, I'm trying to still, because the lifelong learning, we have to continue building, we have to continue learning, we have to continue offering services. We must not be paid for services to people, right? And just for the purpose of improvement, for the purpose of self development. I mean, I'm still very young, not like I've got to the stage where 1 hour consulting now is already millions. We're not there yet. But for now, yeah. So basically, but I did like so the way the program is so we have another side. So it's for ventures. So if you are done with the training and you want to go into ventures, or you want to go into business, entrepreneur and stuff like that. So we have a venture side that do some sort of investing in your business, you pitch your idea, they walk you through, they have investors that invest in your business, they have trainings, partnership, you go to business school and whatnot to help you build. So we have like startups already. So I worked with one of the startups for about 3 months. Alongside, I was still teaching. So I still worked with one of the startups there. We're building like a loan management system, basically providing loans for students in the training. So I worked with them for more than 3 months actually, but alongside with facilitating young people. But right now, I'm still building with some of the startups, and I'm still facilitating. So I have classes 4 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week, sometimes minimum 2, 3 times a week. I have class sessions, and currently I'm the one managing project students. So that means that at every given time, I have minimum 5 projects I'm working with. So even if I'm not building with startups, I have project students I'm building with, which means that I have to fix bugs. I have to we have to do our requirements engineering. We have to go through the process of building a project, and it's usually very fast paced. In a period of 3 weeks, we built a project. At the last week, we're making corrections, making it the fourth week, and then there's a demo to potential employers. So we usually have like two demos. So the first, in fact, so first is a 1 month time frame. The first week is for requirements engineering. So we try to get the requirements or the ideation, do our design thinking and whatnot. Then the next 2 weeks we are building full time. So back to back. So currently we are building. We have our first demo tomorrow for the current set I'm working with. So what that means is that for 2 weeks we are building actively, day night, taking some classes, teaching DevOps. I'm not the one that teach DevOps. So basically, during the project phase, I teach project students software engineering. So how to, gather requirements, how to design the system and whatnot, creating our different diagrams and use cases. Yeah. And then sometimes, okay, somebody else teaches agile, like we stand in for the person sometimes if it's not around. So, so that's for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, we're building back to back. Then we have our first demo after the 2 weeks of building. So for 2 weeks now, we've been building. So first demo is tomorrow, it's an internal demo. So after 2 weeks, after the internal demo, you get feedback, you do some bug bash and whatnot. Then we have our 1 week to make corrections. So by next week again, next week Friday, we have external demo. So we have people from ventures, like I mentioned earlier, they come around to watch the demo. We have potential employers come around as well to watch the demo. Maybe I'm going to share the link for the next day for the demo so that maybe other people could join it to see what some of our students are building and the technologies we are working with. So we build and then the demo. So the reason for that external demo, because initially when we started, we didn't just one demo. So, but the reason for why we have two demos now, the external one, so that we bridge the gap between education and education and employment. So, because usually the mistakes that a lot of people make in starting out is that most especially the one I've seen is when students are done with their training, they are usually eager to get jobs. I mean, it's right to get jobs. It's ideal because you've spent 1 year learning. So and the reason why most people join software engineering is to make a shitload of money. I mean, it's not a problem. It's fine. Everybody wants to make money. But in getting closer to the end of the training, um, people usually pay more attention to, applying for jobs than getting their hands dirty, you know. And it is very crucial that you have to get your hands dirty before you actually get jobs. But most people look for jobs first. I don't know why. So that's why we were able to come up with the project phase, initiated the project phase, have 1 month period where we build back to back. And the students get inspired. Other students I watch during the internal demo. So like you have new students now in the program. They're going to watch the internal demo tomorrow. So usually they're inspired and usually look forward to when they're going to build their own projects. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, that's what I've been up to lately, building products. So personally, I also build like personal projects. Like currently, I'm trying to work on a project. Uh, so what it does is basically for students as well. Most of the projects I'm working around or I work on, they are basically for students, especially in our training. So just to add to what I've said, the one I'm working on currently is I'm trying to build a project where I'm trying to build APIs that students can use. Students interested in front-end engineering, they could use to play. So I build APIs, so they sign up, they get access to different kinds of APIs. And then with the APIs, they're going to build a front-end project. And then they can call those APIs or they can use the APIs they have built. So I want to build like a log of different APIs that students can use in terms of when they want to build projects, or front-end students or front-end engineers can use when they want to build a product. At the same time, I'm going to inspire other back-end engineers to build APIs so that they can make it live and available for other front-end engineers to use. And they could, share ideas together on the platform and make comments, give thumbs up and whatnot. So that's pretty much it.
Wow, that's a very exciting journey so far. And I'm seeing a lot of comments in, coming in from Mohammed, coming in from George, talking about your journey and how it's inspiring to them. Now, we talked about how you got into tech, exactly how the training was like, the rigors of the training, and then
Mhm.
what happened after. Now,
Mhm.
you've also shared in your experience the day to day of a software developer. I'd like to go into that a little bit because some of the people who are in the session today are looking at, hey, I want to be a software developer. What should I expect the day to day to look like, to feel like? So can you walk us through what that day-to-day experience is for those people aspiring to be software developers? You wake up in the morning and you're at the end of the day. Walk us through what happens in between. Spare no details if you can.
Mhm. So anytime I watch a couple of videos, I think people into software engineering, they make videos on Twitter, on LinkedIn about their day-to-day experience. You see them, they have like this nice looking chair and setup, and then they have like 5 screens. Me, I have only one screen now, my laptop, and I don't have that big chair. So my own software engineering day to day is different from all the ones I've seen. Because when I've been watching their one, I'm like, I'm not saying, man, my own is not like this. Because they have lunch break, you see them, they go and buy salah. I'm like, Jesus. But anyway, so my own is, it's a bit different for obvious reasons.
Okay.
Because I'm not, I teach, I facilitate sessions. So, and every day feels like a new day for me. Every day feels like a new day because I'm dealing with people. So I'm not the kind of software engineer that just dealing with code. I'm dealing with human beings every single day. So if I'm to give a typical day of how of a typical let me you can just let me just walk you through a typical day for me. So I wake up, it depends on when I sleep. But I wake up let's say by like three, 4.
Wow.
Yeah. So if
In
I'm
the,
up,
in the evening,
ah,
I'm
wake
just
up.
joking.
No, that one I wish. If I have my way, I'll wake up that time. Oh. I can't. So yeah, I wake up very early in the morning. Yeah. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll probably just do some of the things I had not done the previous day. So, like for instance, respond to certain messages I slept off on. I can, yeah, yeah, respond. Maybe so when I wake up in the morning, I respond to like one or two messages. Maybe the first two at the top. Then when I respond to those ones, it's a bad habit. When I respond to those ones, when I open the Bible app,
Ooh.
when I open the Bible app, I'll be reading one, maybe a particular chapter. If I read like maybe verse one, verse two, verse three, I go back. So that my WhatsApp to check a message. But most times, yeah, I read a chapter in the morning, every morning actually. I read a chapter of the Bible. Then after that, I'll go and shower, dress up, and whatnot. When I prepare for work, I can go back to my laptop and I'll continue. So, like a project I'm working, I can continue building or continue writing writing code for it. So, and usually, when we're writing code, you don't know when time flies because you might be facing a bug, and then you're trying to fix you're trying to fix that bug. So you don't know when it gets to 8 o'clock or 7:30. But by 8 o'clock, thereabout, I'm already preparing to leave the house. So by 8 o'clock, I can get to the office by like 8:15, 8:30. So it's not so far from my house. It's really fast, no traffic. Sometimes I haven't walked down. So getting to the office, I'm meeting people, students. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Sir, I have an issue. Good morning, sir. Sir, I've not slept. There's a bug. What? So already from that time, don't worry, it's already work. Work has started. So you are looking at somebody's code, trying to fix their problem. You are looking at one other thing. And if you meet your colleague, there might be a brief meeting. That okay, can we see this morning? Can we have a brief chat? And the chat is mostly about okay, there's this particular student that's struggling. You need to check on that student. There's this particular class they're struggling. Somebody needs to maybe do an assessment for them. There's this particular, stuff like that. There's this particular. So while you are dealing with people regularly, so like from there, let's say I have a class. So most times I have class. So by 9, I've already started my class. So by 9, I'm already in class. So just like my training, I can't use my phone from 9 to maybe 12 during break because I'm a facilitator, so I can use my phone during break. But I would not want to use my phone during class because I mean we're telling students not to use their phone. So why am I using my phone? So I drop my phone. So we have a box or drop phones. I don't drop my phone in the box, but you can't find my phone. My phone's really in my bag. Exactly. So in class, I usually start my class by asking questions. So I drop a question on the board and then we get students to code. So the reason, not because I want to punish them, no. So the reason why I came up with that tactic is because usually students are restless in the morning. I've observed. I did not know as a student, but I observed they are restless in the morning. That's when they want to say, can I go and ease myself? I want to go and buy biscuits. Okay, okay, I know how to handle this one. So in the morning, once I come in, task for 25 minutes. So I have a secret 25 minutes. Any class I enter, they already know. So 25 minutes, they are sitting down, they are coding. So it gets them in the mood. So after that 25 minutes, when they've struggled, they've cracked their brains and everything, I give them a brain break of 10 minutes. So that brain break, they can go out to ease themselves. They buy maybe biscuits or something to just munch on. They mix amongst themselves to share ideas. If they're not able to solve the task, they can meet other people to assist them. So after 10 minutes, I continue my class. So I have my class till about 5:30. If they still want more class, because sometimes students want more class. I don't know why, but this software engineering are trying to make money fast, so they want more class. That okay, oops, power failure. Pardon me, I'm in Nigeria,
Okay.
Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so I have my class to 5, 6 there about. But now that I'm dealing with project students, so I had to rush down home. Usually I'll be in school till like 10, 11 because they are coding all through. So because of this schedule, I had to come back home because if I'm in school, you'd have been hearing noise. That's sir, 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 please, sir. You be hearing noise, so I had to come back home. I have to come back home. Lagos is good. Come to Lagos. No time. I'll there for 1 minute. So yeah, so it depends. So if it's a normal class, if there's no project that period, and usually if there's no project, let's say the period is for like maybe 2 weeks before preparing for another course with the project. But let's say in those 2 weeks, I must have done my class by 5, 6, go back home. Not really go back home. I think hang around to fix, help students. Maybe some students that need extra help. We could help take like extra classes, maybe for 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, thereabout. But if I'm done with all this stuff, I go back to maybe the project that I was building in the morning. I can go back to it. If I don't go back to it, I can go back home to just relax a bit, sleep, wake up at night, continue building the project I'm working on. Because we have to constantly study, we have to constantly, grow. But if I don't go back to building the project, probably I have a session the next day, I have a class the next day. So I have to go back to look through maybe the slides I must have created. I have to go back to look through what's it called, some materials that I want to teach. And like I said, it's always a new day every day because if I'm teaching a class on a particular concept today, if I'm teaching a new class on that same concept, I don't want to teach it the way I taught in the previous class. There might be something I want to add, there might be something I want to change. And for me, I love storytelling, so I teach a story. So every moment I like to capture it so that I can easily share stories when I'm teaching. Because, talking about software engineering the entire day could get boring because it's technical stuff. So I have to think about how can I relate non-technical things to technical things. Like for instance, if I want to teach maybe on a concept like inheritance in programming, I can start off by asking, okay, how do we inherit land in Yoruba? In Yoruba land, how can we inherit properties? So students might not know where I'm driving at, but that conversation about inheriting properties in Yoruba land, you see how they start talking about how if you want to inherit in Igbo is war. If you want to inherit property in outside, you have to do a lot of things. So that conversation, we cannot drive it into software engineering. Okay, there's a concept called inheritance in software engineering. So now we've already gotten the class engaged and I can drive a point. Then you have to go back another story again because shorts, these days are our attention span is short. So yeah, you have to struggle to catch students' attention at the time. So it varies like that. So it's either I'm with project students which I stay really late, or I'm having a normal class session, go back home, prepare for the following day, or if I don't have class the following day, I just write code down and sleep off, wake up in the morning, try to build. I must not write code. I read as well, so I can read a book, software engineering. If I'm not reading a book, maybe I've tried for that week. I can go see a friend after work just to chill. Maybe we just talk about work and stuff like that. But I think yeah, there are days that I have sessions. Like for instance, now I think recently I had a session at Stanbic Bank. So sometimes I could go out for certain sessions in other organizations, maybe to train. So that one, extension, I have to prepare overnight because I cannot go and form my hand. So I have to study a lot. So this work, we study a lot, a whole lot, study a lot. So yeah, that's what I'm like. Mine is different. My own software engineering journey has been different from everything that I've seen or things I watch because I'm going through a different route. So not like I'm actively okay writing code from morning to night. Every day feels like a new day. I'm dealing with new people, and every day they come with new energy. For instance, because they might be moody today, students might be moody today. So you have to find a way to change the energy of the class. Maybe you have to crack a joke. Maybe you have to I don't know different methods. Maybe you have to create tension. You have to control the room in such a way that it's going to be easy for you to communicate the concept for people to understand and to be sure that they are learning, right? Another day they could come in really excited. Another day they could come in sick. So it's a different day, yes. Because people break down in our training a lot. Third, fourth month, they are breaking down. They're already complaining, tired. You see ladies, they are crying. Sometimes you see some ladies say, excuse me, sir, I'm going to the toilet, they've gone to cry. Because it's rigorous. It's a lot. So it's really a bit different from the usual. But yeah, it's fun because I'm dealing with people. I have to up my game in terms of communication. I have to up my game in terms of public speaking. I have to up my game in terms of enabling retention for students. I have to up my game in terms of understanding how learning works, how the concept is being moved from the short-term memory to long-term memory, and what are the things that drive this concept from the short-term memory to the long-term memory, right? Open my game in terms of emotional intelligence, understanding when people are deep down, knowing the kind of terms, because people are coming from different contexts. You might say certain things, you might trigger something in somebody at the back because that person is coming from a big or you might say something because that person is coming from somewhere else. So you have to be really, really careful. They might be heated. There are some days that the class is heated. Many people are arguing. So how can you change that energy? Maybe by listening. So you have to listen to people. You have to try to be able to resolve conflict. You have to be good at resolving conflict because students will finish with conflict. Exactly. So you have to be likable, truth be told, because sometimes the students do not like you, they can't learn. So if you're not even likable, you might hinder their learning, actually. So it's beyond. I mean, for me, the engineering is like an engineering more than software.
Okay.
It's a lot of engineering for me because yeah, I don't know how to explain it beyond what I said. It's a lot of engineering. It's a lot of engineering.
Wow.
Dynamics of how people work. Because people are coming because we can't just come and expect that everybody's going to be normal. Some people are abnormally normal. So how can you deal with those kind of people? Some people they gain joy in making causing troubles. So I don't know. So you have to just try to up your skill in terms of managing people.
Okay.
Exactly. In terms of managing people, managing the room, and at the same time, you have to be really good. And interestingly, there are students that come to the program, they have more years of experience than you do. Like, for instance, now I'm going to start Big Bat in training. There might be people in the room that have more experience than myself. I'm going to be training in class for about 4 or 5 weeks. There are some students in that class that are going to test you. They're going to ask you questions that if you can't answer them, they're not going to listen to you for the rest of that class. They might not even come to your class anymore
Hmm.
because they think they know more than you. So, I mean, what's the point? So, you have to find your own techniques. You have to have your own strengths to be able to deal with those kind of people. I mean, I've been able to find find my own techniques. Let me not snitch myself so that if you're asking me some questions I don't know, you know that these guys do that.
Okay.
But
Nice.
yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a it's not difficult. It's really interesting. And I still go back to my point. Every day feels like a new day. It's super interesting.
Very good.
So it's not just about coding. Yeah.
I I've learned a lot from this conversation, Jonathan. Thank you very much for sharing that. I have. And for those of us who just joined this session, Jonathan is a software engineer, and he's sharing his story about how he came into software engineering, starting with taking the course in software engineering, and then now he's sharing the day in the life of a software engineer, from morning when he wakes up till end of day. And it's been a very interesting ride. And we have a couple of questions on the chat that we are going to be asking Jonathan from the audience. And please do feel free to ask questions on things that you are curious about. But before we get the floor open to start taking questions, one of the questions I have for you, Jonathan, is what role does AI, Chat GPT, play in all of this? We are hearing all the time how Chat GPT is changing the face of software development. You can take pictures basically. I saw something today and I'd like to share it with you. Somebody can take a picture of a solution diagram and then share it with Chat GPT, and Chat GPT is going to be able to write the code for that. Now, in that day and age of AI, machine learning, what's the relevance of software development right now? How does that impact software engineering from your perspective?
Ah, ChatGPT. It's somebody that built it too. a software engineer like myself.
Okay.
Yes, so for me, I think it has a great impact in software engineering because. So let me first talk about something. Then I'll get in there.
Do you mind holding that thought for a second? I want to share my screen because there is an
Okay.
example that I want to show you, and then you can then share your response in regards to this example. So
Okay. Okay.
let me share this example with you. Just give me 1 second. I'm about to share my screen. So this is all right. I saw this online, and I want to play the video. Let me know when you see my screen.
Okay, I can see a screen.
This was just absolutely unbelievable.
Can you hear the audio?
Yeah, I can.
All right, perfect. So let me start.
This was just absolutely unbelievable, and there's a ton of little details here that I want you to pay attention to. So I mocked up this whiteboarding session here, right? This is just a totally fake example. But I passed that photo to GPT-4 Vision with this basic prompt to generate the code for it. Let me set this down. And I really want you to pay attention to this, right? So it generated the code. I pasted that in the VS Code here. And now watch this. So you're going to see step one here is enter your name. Check out the diagram here. So the model was able to see that I had these arrows and it actually flipped the order of these. And I wanted to test if it could do that. And sure enough, it does. So now if I do a name here, sorry, I'm trying to type with one hand. And you're going to see, what is your email with K? Okay. You're going to see in this step, I specified should refer to you by name once provided. So it flipped these steps, so it knew name, then email, and it knew once it got to email, it needed to refer to me by name. This is crazy. This is all on image. I'm just going to put some fake stuff here. You're going to see it's now asking us to confirm if we're over 18 or not, still referring to me by name. You're going to see I split that here. So one branch goes up here to show the site. The other goes to the second option here. And you're going to see I crossed sorry screen and instead put kid version. And you're going to see I'm going to click no. And we're getting welcome to the kid version of the site. So it knew that I had crossed that out and sent it through it instead of building that. So just by passing this image, again, I just really want to emphasize this. All I did was pass this image in with this little prompt, and it was able to figure out that these steps were switched, that it needed to refer to me by name. It had to do the logic of all of this, so it actually did the functionality. It was able to split these branches, and it knew that I had crossed this off for this step. So again, the super mock example, but that is nuts that it can handle that. That's crazy.
So
this was just absolutely unbelievable.
Thank you very much for seeing that. Now, back to my question. ChatGPT is eating over the entire world. The question for you now is, seeing what you just saw, knowing that a lot of people are still going the manual route of going to learn software engineering the regular way, how does that impact you? What's your thoughts? What do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I'm excited. Yes,
Tell me more.
I'm really excited, but I think people are a bit worried. But me, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because, I mean, somebody sat down or some people sat down, thought about this thing, and then it's live. It means that we have the capacity to build anything we can think of. That's one. So it's really crazy. It is dope. It means that from wherever it is I am, even if I'm in my village, as long as I have this skill, I can set things up. As long as I can think about it, I can, get a group of people that have similar skills as I do, and then we can build whatever it is that is going to make major impact in the world. One. Secondly, I see ChatGPT as a learning tool, and I tell students the same thing as a learning tool. Learning tool in the sense that I can ask it questions. It's as similar as me going to Google to use Google, ask Google questions. But now it takes a while to search, right? So what ChatGPT is doing for me, it does the searching, right, and gives me a result. But now another bit of ChatGPT is that to a great extent you need to know what you're doing, because it's not just about searching and getting a result. Now, how many people are critical thinkers able to validate the result they're getting? So one of the important skills I always tell people to gain is the skill of critical thinking. Yes, we have the technologies that are going to do crazy stuff. We have technologies that are like ChatGPT are sort of taking over. But if we have very few critical thinkers, then there's going to be a problem. Because how can we validate the information? Problem. How can we really validate the information that we are getting, basically? So yeah, I'm excited about ChatGPT. I'll use it. I'll use it to the tired of me. I mean, see, I advise people to use it though.
Okay, okay.
But we need to be really careful and take it as a learning tool, a tool that we can use to, while we are working, use as an assistant, right? You need support instead of going to Google to search, and then you have to go through materials. I mean, it's still beautiful going through those materials because it even exposes us to more things. And then I think another thing is the way we even search sometimes. So, for instance, if I'm searching for something like GPT, rather than just trying to get the answer, I try to search for, oh, can you recommend the resources? So ChatGPT will recommend the resources, that means the links I have to go through to read. And when it does that, man, it sort of streamlines the resources instead of going to page one, page two, page three, page four, page 10. So it streamlines like the resources that I can study. Then as regards this video, I think it's cool. I mean, it means that there's progress with ChatGPT. There's an advancement, and now I can give it my UML design and it can generate for me the code. But it's not just about generating for me the code. Do I understand what I'm saying? Can I couple it together to build whatever it is I'm trying to build for myself? Right? Can I deploy? Can I do maintenance? Because software engineering is a different ball game. It's a team sport, right? So when we're looking at the development life cycle, we have to come from a point of requirements. So now, for instance, that video now we've looked at. Oh, somebody had to create the requirements. That okay, put the first name and the last name. After the last name, put the email. After the email, if this thing is like this, do like this. That's the skill. Requirements engineering is the skill on its own. Where, for instance, if I go to a company, I go to the client, and then the client is telling me what they want, and can I document all the things that they want, because they don't really know what they want. I'm trying to even guide them through as regards what it is that they really want. So that we've not talked about implementation, we've not talked about writing code yet. Now that process of requirements engineering, how many people are skilled with it? Not to talk about the requirements and engineering alone, we have to move to design. How many people are skilled in design? Because we're building products for human beings, not for robots, right? For people that people could go crazy. So, exactly. So we're building products for human beings. So how many people are really concerned about the design? Well, ChatGPT will do that for us. Yeah, implementation, we can use ChatGPT, support and help and whatnot and all these things. Yeah. But now we have to have a good level or a reasonable level of knowledge, right, about what it is we're trying to build. We need to have our own understanding about certain things. We need to be design thinkers. We need to be critical thinkers. Those are skills that, well, ChatGPT won't provide them for you. Trust me, they can't. So it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. So people that are scared, I want them not to be scared, man. Level up, just level up.
So now let's talk about leveling up a little bit. Now, typically software development life cycles are usually very long because software developers would have to write code, go back and try to find a bug. There's a bug in the code. They have to figure out that bug. They have to go through that back and forth process, basically. With software engineers today, especially the ones that you are training, are they leveraging the power of AI to reduce that need to come back to you to say, "Hey, sir, come and help me resolve this bug," when they can just throw that code basically on ChatGPT and find that bug real quickly and in less than 2 seconds? Are they
Well,
leveraging that?
yeah. So the truth is that it's not always like that, because I'm in this thing first time, real time. So it's in fact, students, we tell students sometimes that, because we can give a task in class and then they use ChatGPT to cheat. Recently, there was a situation like that where I gave a task in class and then a student at the front use ChatGPT to do that task for me. And I saw it. I was like, you did not do this thing. You did not do this thing yourself. You lied, I did it. I'm like, what? And how I knew was that the concepts that ChatGPT provided for him, those concepts were, we've not taught those concepts in class, which means that that guy did that task, but he has little knowledge and understanding about the concept that ChatGPT gave to him to do that task. One, which means that in terms of application to a new problem, he cannot, because there's already this dependency on ChatGPT. He cannot by himself think through that problem to do that. One. So ChatGPT is good for the purpose of learning, like I said before, in the sense that there are students who they have bugs and they prompt ChatGPT, they can get a response, they get the answer. But there are several situations, even up until today, before I left school this evening, that right in front of me, I went to someone, just prompt ChatGPT to give me the answer. From ChatGPT gave the students, the code. He could not find a way to fix that bug with ChatGPT. So there are instances like that where one ChatGPT might give you a different. Sometimes you tell it, "Are you sure?" You prompt ChatGPT, "Are you sure?" You say, "Oh my bad, sorry, I made a mistake. Sorry for the misunderstanding and stuff like that." So yeah, it happens like that sometimes. Sometimes the concept, you're not even familiar with the concept. So me, I still think that there's a place for studying. It's a learning tool. I still see it like that, where if I see a new concept there, I want to prompt it to break down the concept for me. I want to prompt it to recommend materials for me to study to know it. So in the case where I have a similar problem, I know how to resolve that issue because I now have the understanding, right? So it happens like that. I've also seen a situation where ChatGPT has made some people fail interviews. No cap. I've seen it where, in fact, you prompted ChatGPT, to give the answer to a code, and ChatGPT gave the code and gave extra. The interviewer even asked that, why did you even put that extra there? The guy does not even know. He could not answer, and that extra wasn't even necessary. So not like it's a bad thing. Like that's why I keep saying that it's a learning tool. So because imagine that you use that thing to learn and just an instance, and then you're like, this is not really correct. Or let's say you have the understanding on your own before you even prompt ChatGPT for the response, right? And you can even detect that that thing is not really correct. This AI thing is not really correct, right? So it happens like that. It happens like that. Like it's getting better. We have GPT-4 now. It's getting on a new level, but I still think that, or I still believe that we need to have our own understanding. We need to, be critical thinkers. And yes, students are leveraging it. No, not all cases are like this. People are fixing their bugs. I fix bugs with ChatGPT, right? To a great extent, I tried as much as possible to know what I'm doing. I try as much as possible to have a chat, like I'm having a chat with my mentor, right? Okay, are you sure about this guy? Okay, what if I do it this way? Is it going to be like this? What if I just understand? Okay, look at this code now. What do you think? Okay, what I best? So I still mix it up. I go to Google, look for best practices. I still download textbooks. I still read textbooks. I don't know, but I don't know how many people are still reading textbooks. I don't
So what you are doing basically is you are shifting the mindset about how we use AI. Rather than using AI as a solution to your problem, you are using AI as a mentor to validate your understanding of the subject matter or the problem you are trying to solve. So
Yeah,
you are using problem solving techniques, critical thinking techniques, to
yeah,
think through the problem, and then
yeah,
you are validating your approach or your solution with ChatGPT.
yeah,
Am I understanding you correctly? Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you very much. This is very exciting. I've been meaning to ask this question to really understand how software engineers are using AI today. And you've been able to provide that answer that I find very satisfactory. So now, I know we have 5 more minutes to the end of the session. There is a question by Michael Collins on the group. And then, team, for those of you watching from home, please feel free to drop a question. Michael Collins is saying, Jonathan, that's very impressive. Quick question. What cheat sheet would you provide for someone starting on a journey like yours to deal with the challenges you went through on your transformation?
Mm. I think asking two questions.
Uh-huh.
The first one is asking is, what challenges did I go through? And the
Okay.
second question is, how did I deal with the challenges I went through? I should give you the cheat code. I'm not giving you cheat code. You don't face your own. So, actually, what challenges did I go through? Man, sometimes when you're not getting this thing, you think it's not for you. That's just the truth. But one thing that helped me was that I did not learn online. I did not do like this. I did not do like maybe, if I've tried learning online before, on YouTube. I've gone online to YouTube to try to learn how to code. It didn't work out well. So I went for physical training. See, the physical training, I saw people crying. I said, yes, all of us will cry in this thing. So for me, the community was just the energy. So the community helped me because you just know you're not the only one struggling. You just know. And then you had access to other people that are ahead of you in the program. So you could always, they must have done something like that. So you can ask them questions. They can provide for you like insights and stuff like that. So that was one of the challenges with me was that the experience was, at some point it was really confused. I didn't know what to do. In fact, that was my challenge for a long time. Not like I did not know what to do. I was thinking about where should I focus on? Should I focus on front end? Should I focus on back end? Should I focus on data science? Should I focus on I didn't even know what to do. I was just thinking because we were supposed to take all our classes. We did data science, we did back end class, we went for front end class, we went for deployment and DevOps class. We did all the classes, all of them. So I was really confused. So that confusion wasn't for me. So at some point I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be a product engineer. So product engineer is anywhere you call me, I'll go, I'll do it. As long as I'm building a product. So I think that's how I was able to even solve the issue. But right now I'm not I just like learning, so I'm not really concerned about where you put me. If you put me on the front end, I think it's cool by me. It's a learning opportunity and a part of the people making impact because of building a project. If we on the back end, it's still really interesting for me. As long as I'm learning new technologies, as long as I'm building, I'm excited. People need to deploy. I'll learn the one I can learn. I'll deploy for you, right? So anyway, it's fine. So one of the challenges I faced was that. So how was I able to go through that? Was one, the community. I had people that also doing the same thing as myself. I had access to them. So I had people that could go and ask questions at any time. Secondly, I was able to just see it as I was trusting the process. So the broader picture of contributing to the project. So I didn't really focus on front end or back end or DevOps, and I didn't focus on that because I wanted to be in a position where, remember, I joined software engineering because I was trying to build my own stuff. So imagine I'm trying to build a company tomorrow. I can provide support to front end guys. I can provide support to back end. I can provide support to the business side. I can provide support to, not like I'm trying to know everything, but I mean, I can have an impact in different areas, right? Exactly. And it's
Wow.
still early in my career. Why am I trying to specialize now? I mean, I can explore. Still really early in my career.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Deji. Jonathan, this is a very impactful session. We learned a lot. We learned about your career, how you transitioned your career to software engineering. We talked about a day in the life of a software engineer, some of the challenges
Yeah.
that software engineers are dealing with. And then there is a last question from Ogushuku, which we can take. It says, what's your best advice for starters in terms of getting into the tech world, majorly picking a particular niche?
Okay. So, advice is that it depends on what you want to be. So, if you want to be a software engineer, it's a different thing from wanting to be a front end engineer or a back end engineer or a DevOps engineer or a data scientist. So, if you want to be a software engineer, I think you need to think about it in a broader, look at it in a broader perspective, right? You want to know what it takes to build a software. You want to look up stuff like software development life cycle, right? And yes, so if you want to pick in a particular niche, so when you have explored a couple of things, you want to find things that you're aligned with. So if you like visuals, because everywhere is difficult. So you're not picking a path based on this. There's no easy path in this thing. There's no part that you can say, wow, this is easy. So where I don't find out. No, there's no easy one. So you have to look at the one that really aligns with you, the one that aligns with your interests. So if you're a person, someone that loves visuals, you can do front end, but you still have to do some logic, right? For someone that loves back end, yeah, a lot of logic as well. DevOps, well, I don't know. Just it's a different ball game. Oh. This picking a niche is difficult, man. I know. So there's no. I don't think I have the best advice for picking a niche. I don't think I have that advice. But what I'll just say is that you want to look for a path that aligns with you, or you want to just start somewhere, right? Start somewhere. I know that you're contributing to a greater good. Exactly. When you start somewhere, if you're bored, if you're tired of it, you can move on to something else. You can move on to another path. It's still early. I mean, you can keep moving till you find that path that, okay, wow, you really found really interesting. I think there's a lot more you can learn from that particular area. Then you can go in depth. Yeah, you can go in depth.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jonathan. This is really very helpful. Jonathan is one of the best software developers that I know, and I'm super excited that he decided to join the Career Transformation series to share his experience with software development. Jonathan, thank you very much, and we are looking forward to seeing you next time in our program. Thank you, and have a beautiful day ahead of you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Coach, for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have a great day.
Yeah, bye bye.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.